Good day, folks. Everything new under the sun. Been very busy. I've had to do some car repair, as you it was with the video there about the Makita there, and lots of things going on. I don't have time. By the way, you should learn how to repair stuff. You should learn new skills because when things go sideways, and inevitably they will, with economic collapse or World War III, whatever it may be, the combination of the two actually, because they're often associated in history. War causes economic collapse, or economic collapse forces war, and that is what it appears to be happening in terms of the downfall of the U.S. dollar as a world reserve currency. As the dollar is used less and less, and nations go to a new currency, i.e., the BRICS currency and group of countries, then the current leading world reserve currency nation often goes to war to preserve, to protect that, and to extend the life of the currency. And there's a great reset coming, but again, that's why you need to have skills, have something you can barter and trade with in your local community. Do you have a mechanic? If not, can you learn some skills? And that includes getting new tools that you might need if you lost your job. Could you do some side jobs? Would you have the tools right now to do some basic side jobs in terms of car repair or plumbing or carpentry, whatever it may be? If you have a skill in a particular direction, it could be a good idea and a good investment to get tools that would help you do that. Not only for the immediate small use of maybe home car repair, in my example, um, but for the extended use of providing assistance to neighbors and friends, and even charging, and that being some sort of a side business to make a little income, or say, look, I'll fix your tractor, your car, whatever it may be. I have the tools. In return, you give me some grain, maybe some feed for my chickens, whatever it may be. So it's never a bad idea to purchase tools, and I think that's what every guy likes to hear. But they truly are investments. Should things go sideways, because you can do the work yourself, and you can get the car fixed once, for say $200. But if you spend that same $200 on a tool that will help you do the job yourself, that means you can do that same job infinitely going forward, many, many times over and over, and you save that $200 of labor every single time that you would otherwise have to pay a mechanic for. So, tools are great investments. Similar to shovels, rakes, hoes, that sort of thing for gardening. It's hard to go wrong by purchasing a tool, because you can use that over and over. All right, rant ended. This is United Nations, and the world is going to work towards a global government. The United Nations' new fact-checking system called iVerify will be used to crack down on misinformation all over the world. This is endoftheamericandream.com. And the world wants to control dissent. In war times, propaganda is used, and they control any dissent, whether you're right or wrong, because they want to keep the morality of the populace in check. Not morality, the moral, the morale, rather, of the populace in check. They want to guide the narrative, because they want to keep everybody on the same page, everybody fighting for, the same end goal. And so you create a boogeyman, whether it be Russia or China, and everybody comes together and fights together under the same cause. And you can't have people coming out and saying, you know what, maybe this isn't a good cause. Maybe there's another way to do this. Why? Because that causes fractions, and fractures, rather, in the populace, and decreases political support, and may turn others off of whatever the narrative is, or whatever the main goal is. And so that's why they want to crush dissent. And so who is going to administer the truth in this case? Who will own the truth? Who will make those decisions as to what is correct, what is not? Well, the United Nations will be. And they're not going to use the Bible as the absolute truth, as the absolute standard. No, that's racist and bigoted, and everything else you can call it. They're not going to use that. They're going to come up with their own rule set, and if it doesn't work for them, they're going to change that rule set. And so I verify, coming from the UN. Uh, Greta Thunberg, climate change agitator, deletes the June 2018 tweet where she said in 2018 that the world will end in 5 years. Well, we're at the end of 5 years now, and she said if we don't stop using fossil fuels, the world will end. Well, that didn't happen. So did she do? She moved the goalpost. She deleted the tweet. And you know what? Nothing is going to happen in this world. Climate change, it doesn't matter. Nothing is going to happen without the Lord allowing it to happen. The Earth has its own checks and balances. If you get too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, then the trees will grow because the trees use that for breathing. They inhale carbon dioxide, they exhale oxygen. So what happens when there's an overabundance of the air that they breathe, basically? Well, they grow faster, stronger, and more of them, consuming more carbon dioxide. And that means that it's going to balance itself over 50 years, 100 years, whatever it may be. The Earth has its own checks and balances. So anything the climate change alarmists say about that is untrue. And there will come a time when the Earth does burn with fire. You could call that global warming. But a lot of that's going to be supernatural when the wrath of God falls upon the earth. So don't worry about the earth collapsing due to climate change or that other things. If we get that far into it, it's basically probably most likely because we're in the last days and judgment is coming upon us. This is War News 247. Lavrov, if NATO wants war, let them. We are ready. So this is an astounding statement coming out of Russia, where they are now overtly saying that we are ready for war with NATO. It says, let's see. It says, if NATO, through Stoltenberg, says again that they are against the freezing of the conflict in Ukraine, then that means they want to fight, and let them fight. We are ready for it, they say. We understood long ago NATO's goals in the matter of Ukraine. And I told you that the generals have come out and said that they are not ready to fight NATO with conventional weapons, but they have been planning for the last 50 years to fight and win a war with NATO using nuclear weapons. So that's what Lavrov is admitting to. They know NATO's involved, and their red line is quickly approaching. And they're saying if NATO wants to fight, we are ready for it. And that's a scary situation where Russia says we are now ready for World War III. That's effectively what Lavrov is saying. There was another who said the same on the Russian side. So that is significant. They are ready for World War III. They are admitting it. They are announcing it. And now it's just a question of who's going to preemptively attack. Because you certainly have the advantage if you preempt World War III. So who will drop the first nuclear weapon? Who will trigger the first massive cyber attack, which takes down all communications? You need to have communications, folks. It is field day in North America for amateur radio, ham radio, and it's this weekend coming up where in North America and around the world we participate in field day where we test our equipment, we do contests, we call each other, across the continent, etc. And it's all for points and fun and games. But it's a good example of testing equipment and having alternate communications paths not related to the internet, not related to cell phones, that you can use in a grid down, communications down scenario. And communications going down is going to be the first thing that happens. When communications go down for an extended period, look out, because that could be the effectively the start, the indicator that World War III has started. So pay attention, folks. This one's interesting. This is Macron. And of course, he's an interesting character. Does he want to lead the world? Apparently, looks like he is trying to move into the BRICS group of countries because he sees that the United States is heading downwards in terms of economic collapse, and he wants to be on board for the new world order. He wants to be part of it. But Russia is saying, well, Macron is not appropriate for to be part of the BRICS. There should be no place for the French president at the bloc's upcoming summit, a senior diplomat argued. It would be inappropriate considering the government's stance, France's stance, Macron's stance against Moscow as part of NATO. I would suggest look for France to start moving away from NATO. Remember, it was Macron who went to China and wanted to create peace, and was looking for an out. They're looking for other friends. It appears that Macron is trying to distance itself from NATO a bit, and maybe seeing maybe the grass is greener on the other side, or seeing that the new world order is changing. They want to be part of the new world order, the new at least world order of economies. And so Macron is trying to get into that BRICS group of countries, so that they're not left out when the world reserve currency as it stands now fails, which it has done historically. And it's so interesting that Macron is on the forefront of trying to get into this new economic group or block of nations. And that falls in, again, economic collapse is one of the things that happens in the last days because the Antichrist comes. He implements a Mark of the Beast system where if you don't have it in your right hand or your forehead, you will not be able to buy or sell. You will not be able to participate in society, in the economy. Now, what does that mean? That means you won't be able to buy groceries. That means you won't be able to get your license for your car. You won't be able to buy insurance. You won't be able to get your car inspected. You won't have any transportation. All those require government services. And if you can't pay, and if the government has cut you out of it because you're not participating with whatever the current requirement is, i.e. this new digital mark of some sort, then you're going to be cut out, and you're going to be literally living under bridges in tents, homeless, with no way to pay for anything and no communications, and people won't deal with you or help you because they will be at risk of losing their government access and the ability to participate in the economy. Because one of the incentives will be, you know what, if you're part of this system, don't interact with anybody who's not part of it because we will remove you from it as well. We will de-incentivize any participation with anybody who is not part of the new system. You may lose access. You may not be able to buy a ticket for a train or a plane. You may be locked down in your house. You may receive a fine if you're interacting with people who are not part of the digital system. So the government's coming down hard. Folks, be prepared. I'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next video.